All right. Welcome. And hopefully I don't talk too loud here. We are in the car again. So this is the time that I have to record this. So hopefully the sound quality is editable and good. And today we're going to be talking about a favorite little creature called the goblin. And maybe something about goblins that you could work into your world, or perhaps maybe just a specific clan of goblins or something. If you don't want to base your entire set of goblins off of this, you could, sure enough, just have a one off clan that acts like this. And to start off, I wanted to talk a little bit about where this idea came from. And so this imagery of goblins that I'm getting is, I think it was mentioned by Runehammer on one of his like encounter design videos that he did a while back. And I'm sure it's not his unique idea, but this is just where I remember it from. And the way that he ran goblins in that scenario was that there's just a lot of goblins. And any time that they try to do something, there's like a pretty good chance that one or a few goblins perish in the act of doing whatever it is that they're doing, right? Like they're gonna release a trap and one of them like gets stuck and like goes with the trap as it activates. Or I think of like they launch a catapult, at you, but along with the catapult, there's a goblin that's flying through the air. Or maybe they just straight up launch, several goblins from the catapult with spears at you, right? And now you've got like it's raining goblins as ammunition. And, some of them aren't probably going to survive it, but, one of them gets a lucky hit or lands on the roof of a building or something. Now you've got, more goblins to worry about, right? Just the comical bad luck of goblins that would result in just several of them being disposed of, just trying to do whatever it is they're trying to do, right? And that kind of got me thinking a little bit. I think that's kind of a funny way to run goblins. Now, granted, you don't have to run all goblins like this. I just think it seems on brand for them, for how devious they are. They come up with a lot of weird contraptions, and they don't always work as planned. But that got me thinking, why would goblins be so quick to rush into danger, especially danger that is bigger than them, that is, they're almost assuredly going to perish, or several of them are going to perish when dealing with any enemy, right? Like if they're just trying to like corner and take down a wolf, let's say you got 5 goblins, you're probably going to lose like 1 or 2 at least, right? So thinking of it in like human perspective, like most people would be like, I don't, I know that we can take the wolf by ourselves, but like the risk of losing like half of our forces against it don't make me really want to, go near the thing, right? Like I'm a little afraid of it. And goblins just have this zeal, I guess, and this courageousness despite themselves almost, right? And they'll just, run flailing and swinging spears and rusty swords at whatever they can, probably with little hope that they'll actually survive the encounter, right? Just for the greater good of the clan. And so that piece of it got me thinking like, well, why did they just throw themselves? Like what gives them that confidence, besides just the greater good? Because I always feel like goblins don't really seem like the type of creature that would really care about others a whole lot. I mean, maybe they care about the clan a little bit, but in general, they typically get played off as being very greedy. They might kind of fight amongst themselves and quarrel, right? And when you have like bigger, badder goblinoids that come in to kind of command them, they just kind of fall in line because they're afraid of the bigger guy, right? So, but what other reason would give them that confidence? And that led me to reincarnation. And what if the goblins, religion is based on some form of reincarnation where they're not afraid to die because they think that they're just going to be reborn in the clan, tomorrow. So like there's no need to, it might hurt, getting killed by this adventurer, but like if enough of us go and try to stab him with our spears, we'll probably take him down, and then whoever survives, they bring the loot back. And I'll just be born again tomorrow, so then we'll have that loot, right? So a strong sense of reincarnation and a fearlessness that death is not a permanent state for them. Now, this doesn't mean that reincarnation needs to be true. This could just be something that's like ingrained in them, and part of their cult like religion is this reincarnation aspect of it. And another thing that I think would maybe be ironic here is if they reused a lot of the same names. So, like, you'll never have two goblins that are named the same, at any one time, right? Like, you'd have, I don't know, I can't think of any goblin names off the top of my head besides Boblin, right? Yeah, Boblin the Goblin, he comes at you with a spear and you kill him. And then like you run into the same group of goblins a little bit later, and like there's Boblin. And I feel like they would recycle names in that way, like the ones that they've lost. They just recycle those names in and out. So that could be a fun like fact for the party if the party overhears them discussing their names and like, hey, I thought we like, didn't Boblin die last time? Like, no, I'm pretty sure he's died a couple times. Like, what is going on here? And that could lead to some fun shenanigans or, question marks for the party. To like, why do we keep fighting the same goblins, right? And if the adventurers aren't paying super close attention to what the like physical description of the goblins are, then they might have a hard time being like, well, did he have a longer nose than that? I don't remember. It kind of looks like the same goblin. It's like, it'd be like if you saw a handful of dogs, they were all like German shepherds one day, and then like you left, and then you saw another group of German shepherds another time. Like, oh, they could be the same dogs, but like I don't know them well enough. I haven't seen them enough times to like pick out their small distinguishing marks. I don't know if they're the same goblins or not. Maybe it seems they're acting like they're the same goblins, and maybe that's part of their religion or their cult, their belief system is that they just like you're assigned your name, you're assigned Boblin the Goblin, and in your past lives, Boblin did this. Just like grow up, and that's you just become Goblin. So in a way, there's always a thief goblin named Rook or something, right? And you've got Boblin, and he's a soldier or whatever. And then they always just kind of grow up the same because they just kind of take on this reincarnated persona from before, from whatever the other goblins told them. Oh yeah, well Boblin was like this. Okay, well I'm Boblin, so that's what I will be like now, right? So that could lead to some fun recurring goblin villains for maybe a low level party just to confuse them a little bit. But then the other option is that you could make the reincarnation actually real, and you could have them actually being reincarnated as maybe through some demon or some cultist or something is somehow like siphoning their life force and creating more of them. Or it could just be a straight up a deity of some sort. If you didn't want it to be all goblins, it could just be, this specific clan, right? This deity is intervening with this clan and is just messing around and is like, yeah, you know what? Reincarnation, sure. That's great. These guys aren't going to get up to that much trouble. They're just goblins. I'll just keep reincarnating them every time they die because it's fun or whatever, right? They have some goal. I mean, it could be this big plot if you wanted it to be, but I don't know how likely are deities in your world going to want to spend time reincarnating goblins, and how difficult is that? Maybe it's easy, so they're practicing. I don't know. Otherwise, you could always chalk it up to a cultist, and then you could have them, like encounter the party again and be like, "You killed me in my previous life, and I'm here to, gut you like a fish," which kind of reminds of Shadow of Mordor, with the orcs, if you, depending on how you kill the orcs, they can have a chance of coming back and like, you thought I was dead, but I survived and I'm coming back, and now you're gonna die this time, Ranger. Yeah, sometimes you actually in that game decapitate them and then they still come back. They just like put their head under like a bag or a big like armored helmet, so you can't quite see their face. So that got a little sketchy. Sometimes you're like, I'm pretty sure I decapitated you last time, but you're back, so that's weird. But I mean, you got reincarnation going on. Like they totally could remember things that happened in the past, and you could also even if you don't go the route of having actual reincarnation, just having the, older goblins, the surviving goblins, tell them about the encounter they had. Like, oh yeah, Boblin, well, you just died. And it was this big, tall adventurer. He had blonde hair and he had like a blue cloak and he had some like magic and stuff. And he hit you with a pretty good firebolt. It was pretty funny to watch, honestly. But that's how you died. So if you ever run into him, like, you should probably be angry at him and call him out on it. They could totally tell those tales to the younger goblins, even if reincarnation isn't a thing, right? So now you've got these goblins that keep showing up and they keep calling your party out for killing them in the past. And you're like, what is going on here? Where are these goblins coming from? So could be a fun way to run a set of goblins, a clan of goblins, or all of your goblins for all it matters. I don't know. So that was my thought for today. This is a little bit of a shorter one, but do what you will with it and enjoy.